Okay guys, so I'm gonna be doing some dishes while I talk again. Kids are napping and gotta get stuff done. Anyway, alright, I did a video a little while back on hormones and cycles and how the carnivore diet was affecting my cycles specifically. So I said back then in that video that I was going to be getting my hormones checked, specifically estrogen and progesterone. It's already been done for a while now, and I just forgot to do the follow-up video, so this is that. Alright, we'll just get right into it. The estrogen results came back, and my tests were done during the what's called the luteal phase of my cycle. Alright, so if you're not familiar, your entire cycle is on average 28 days. It varies, it can be 21 to 35 days on average, okay? But usually it's around 28 days, and the first 14 or 15 days of your cycle is considered the follicular phase. All right, and that's just the first phase where your body is kind of gearing up to ovulate, basically, for women. Not the same for men. We're not covering men here. If my husband ever decides to get his hormones checked, then we will cover men then, but right now it's just women. So follicular phase is when your body is gearing up to, you know, release an egg from the follicle. All right, and the luteal phase is the last half of your cycle, roughly 14 days until you start your period again, and then you're back to day 1 of your cycle. Okay, so that's how it works. So my hormone tests were done on days 5, 7, and 9 after ovulation. All right, so it ended up being like day 20 for me, day 22, 24, and 26 of my cycle. All right, because I probably TMI, but it doesn't matter, we're all human beings here. All right, ovulation was like around day 17 of my cycle based on my testing. So that's where we're at. My test results came back. My estrogen was high. It was very high. So the receptionist at the doctor's office, literally, she called me to let me know the results, and she was like, my first response literally was, holy estrogen. So yeah, super high. It was close to 1,000. All right, it was like 987 picograms per milliliter, I believe. I don't know what that measurement means. That's just what they use to measure, and that's what the number was, 987. Okay, which is super high. All right, like typically on the high end you're looking at like 460. All right, so just to give you an idea, mine was over twice as high as normal. Now I don't have any idea what it was prior to starting carnivore, unfortunately, but what I might do is just go ahead and get my hormones, those same ones, checked again in like another 2 months and see where we're at, because at that point I will have been on this diet for about 3 months, and I'll be able to, you know, see more accurately whether my hormones are being truly affected or whether there's like staying the same, going up, you know, see what the changes have been. Because when those tests were done, it was while I was on carnivore, but it was like I hadn't been on carnivore for quite a full month yet. All right, so it's definitely very possible that my body and my estrogen levels will chill out a bit after I adjusted to this. And my progesterone levels were super normal. All right, your top end that you want to see during the luteal phase for progesterone is like 21. I don't think they measure in picograms. I can't remember what the measurement is, but anyway, the number was like 21 on the top end. My number was 9.1, which is perfectly fine. It's like right in the middle of what you want to see. And then over the period of 5 days, they have you test like on 3 different days. So like I said, I tested on day 22, 24, and 26. All right, so over a 5-day span. And what my doctor wanted to see was a gradual or a steady drop in both of those numbers, because that's normal. Those hormones are going to drop over the luteal phase if you don't get pregnant. So mine did. for both numbers. My estrogen went from like 987 down to around 400 over those 5 days. Okay, so it dropped by a lot and was finally back within what's considered, you know, slightly high, but not like crazy high by the end of it. And my progesterone went from 9.1 down to 3.5. All right, so very normal on the progesterone. Estrogen high, but it came back down into normal ranges by the end of those 5 days. So when I called my doctor's office, the nurse that I spoke with said that, you know, they weren't really concerned about the high estrogen, and I don't know, because I've never done this before, and so I don't really have anything to compare it to. I have not heard from any other doctors on this subject. Doing my own research, honestly, I felt like that number was concerning, how high it was. So I don't know. I want to do these tests again and see where I'm at in the future. If you guys have ever had those tests done and have any, you know, experience with what those numbers mean and what your experience has been with your hormone levels, let me know in the comments. That'd be awesome. I love hearing from other people on these subjects, and hormones are such a tricky thing, you know, and they're kind of all over the place sometimes, it feels like, especially for women because of our cycles. So yeah, anyways, I was happy to hear that my doctor was not worried. He basically said that he wasn't concerned because my progesterone was not deficient as a result of the high estrogen. So, you know, I don't know. I thought they kind of had to be in balance. I wasn't sure if having high estrogen and average progesterone is okay, or like if really they need to be a bit more in balance. But my doctor didn't sound worried. He would have been worried if he saw low progesterone, but he didn't see that, so he didn't seem to think there was too much to worry about. So again, I'm not going to worry too much either. He did see the nice steady drop in both the numbers that he wanted to see to make sure, and that's a sign that you did ovulate and everything kind of went according to plan. Basically, like your body's doing what it's supposed to do is what that means. So I will try and have another round of hormone tests done, like I said, about a month and a half or 2 months from now, and see where everything is at. And I'm not going to get worried until my doctor says to be worried. You know, I really was mostly wanting to make sure I didn't have too low progesterone because, you know, that can cause issues with getting and staying pregnant. So, and I don't. My progesterone's normal, so I'm not going to worry about that for right now. I'm just going to keep going with this, see what happens. I have heard a lot of people say that Carnivore has a very healing effect on the body and on hormones. So I'm pretty excited to see, you know, where I'm going to be even just a month and a half or 2 months from now, because we're just about a month and a half in now. And, you know, we've already seen a lot of good positive changes. And the main thing that I'm really hoping I see more moving forward is fat adaptation. Like, I really want to get there because I think that is going to be kind of a milestone towards really just, I guess, settling into the diet and the way of life, because without being fat adapted, I feel like it affects a lot of things, everything from, you know, your cravings to your electrolytes and all sorts of things. So yeah, that's where we're at, and that's where we're headed. I hope this was helpful to some of you, you know, having those particular hormones explained. I know that there are a lot of other hormones at play in the body, and men especially, they've got different hormones going on. And hopefully I can get my husband to do one of these tests as well, see what his situation is, and I will let you know those results as well. I also need to sit down and talk with him so that he can tell you what his experience has been with Carnivore so far, because his has been, especially during the beginning, very different than mine. So it'll give you guys another different perspective, and specifically for the men, it'll, you know, kind of let you know if you're new to this, or if you haven't tried it or considering starting it, what you might expect. Okay, that wraps us up for the day. I hope y'all having a great day out there. It's been rainy and nasty here, but warm, so I'll take it. Bye, friends.